Sound of Love, and it's now time for the Morning Watch.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the App Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live in the main watch. Medical apartheid or public health, persons being excluded from the St. Mary Municipal Corporation Building if not fully jabbed. In the second watch, more states of emergency. Will it reduce crime or will criminals simply go elsewhere? For our Facebook question, we asked, what are your thoughts on preferential treatment for those who are vaccinated? Share your responses on our Facebook or YouTube Live, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on the program, but first, here's I quote.
This morning's I quote. Miracles happen to those who believe in them. Bernard Berenson.
Okay. This one is quite interesting. Are we saying that miracles don't happen to those who don't believe in them? Well,
It's talk about faith. It's all about faith.
It's all about faith. I leave that to the theologians. Nadine, hands to you. How are you, Nadine?
I am good. Good morning and blessings abundant.
Blessed morning to you as well. The main watch. We'll be back after this break.
Where the student them Swiss we
Hey, Campusites, are you a Christian? How hard is it to balance being a Christian and going to school? Do you set boundaries with your friends? How do you live that set-apart life? Well, this Tuesday, November 23 at 5:30 p.m. inside Campus Connection, we're going to take a look at millennial Christians and the school. How to live set apart. It's a chat you don't want to miss, as a few schoolers and recent graduates will share about how they live and lived that set-apart life around their peers. And your youth ambassador, Siobhan Blair, will join us again this week as we continue to celebrate Youth Month. That's Campus Connection. It happens this and every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. right here on the number 4 station in Jamaica, Love 101, the family station.
One on campus, young people are hard on campus. Oh Lord, that's a one campus connection. Oh Lord.
Does this sound remind you of car insurance? Or does this sound remind you of getting a loan for your small business? What about this? Does this remind you of paying your bills online? Trust Grace Kennedy Financial Group to do your banking, insurance, investments, money services, and more gracefully. Get to know us at gracekennedyfinancialgroup.com.
Pay your water bill. Keep the benefits flowing to wash your clothes and dishes. It's a small price for a big service. That was a message from the NWC.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Black Friday Mega Madness. Black Friday Mega Madness. Black Friday Mega Madness. We have never had a sale this big. Get ready, Jamaica. This one is massive. November 26th to 28th at Home and Things. It's the Black Friday Mega Madness weekend at Home and Things. Every single item in store is 30 to 70% off. This Friday only. And catch the Saturday and Sunday specials too. Black Friday Mega Madness weekend is on at Home and Things. All Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. It's a Mega Madness weekend.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. Now, private companies are being challenged over the enforcement of a no job, no work entry policy, and we await the outcome of a few cases before the court in that regard. But in the same instance or the same vein, what is the situation with government entities? And should it be that moving forward, government entities should be going in the direction of requiring vaccination? What should the modus operandi be? Well, at this time, certainly the government of Jamaica has not taken a position on the matter in terms of whether persons should have access to public facilities if you are, depending on your vaccination status. And of course, some persons are even taking the issue with the term vaccination. The definition had been changed in relation to COVID-19, or certainly somewhat altered or amended. However, is this a public health issue, or does it amount in the minds of some persons to being excluded, whether socially or otherwise? We have online this morning to discuss this very sensitive and very delicate and very important topic. Mr. Basil Hanson, Christian activist and founder of MTN TV. We also have Reverend Dr. Ashland Ferdinand, who's the pastor of the New Testament Church of God, New Testament Church of God, and this particular church, the pastor is in Papine, St. Andrew. Welcome, Dr. Ferdinand, and welcome, Mr. Hanson. How are you both?
Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Mr. Marshall.
Good morning, Dr. Ferdinand.
Good morning to all the listeners of Love FM, and what a joy to be with you today. And I'm doing great. Good to be here with you.
Great. Mr. Hanson, are you with us? We're not seeing him quite as yet, or hearing him quite as yet. I do believe he ought to be joining us momentarily. Well, I'm going to start with this article, Dr. Ferdinand, if you will. And I'm seeing it here, recent article out in the media. It's entitled, it's dated the 11th of November, 2021. And it says, some staff, the headline is, some staff at St. Mary Municipal Corporation skip in-person meeting following vaccine mandate. Now, I'm going to say, first of all, I'm not sure if the state of affairs as it stood then still applies now. I don't know if there's been some rollback, but just the whole concept and the idea is still worthy of discussion nonetheless. The article goes on to say, or the news item goes on to read, there was a high level of physical absenteeism among staff members of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation for Thursday's monthly meeting following the vaccine mandate, which took effect almost 2 weeks ago. Prior to that, the mandate announced during last month's meeting of the corporation stated that proof of vaccination would be required before entry to the building. The mandate was implemented on November the 1st and extends to visitors. Goes on to read as follows. Richard Creary, chairman of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation, expressed disappointment at the low physical turnout. He's now quoted here. There are several quotes. I won't go through every quote of his, but I'll read a few of them. I take this to mean that a number of our staff members and our senior staff members are not vaccinated, he said, noting that a survey is being done to ascertain the number of staff who have received the jab. He's quoted again as saying the following, I still can't understand what some of us are waiting on. So I would hope as time goes by, we will see more and more persons taking the vaccine and being able to attend our meetings face to face, unquote. He's quoted again as saying the following. Maybe I'll read all of his quotation or everything that he said actually. When we call upon you for information, please be available. And I don't mean available to the point where we have to wait until someone tell you it's your time and you join. Because a lot of the times we see persons named up there, but when we try to reach out, the person is only present in name. He complained. So clearly he'd rather see them. Well, the suggestion could be that he'd prefer to see them all at a face-to-face meeting. And a little bit more of the article here. It is understood that a representative for the media and a member of a government agency were turned away. I'll read that again. It's understood that the representative of the media and a member of a government agency were turned away from the physical location as they could not show proof of vaccination. And for the benefit of those listeners, this is Radio Jamaica News online, 6:12 p.m., Thursday, November 11th, 2011. Persons can take a look at it for themselves. Any comments on that, Reverend Dr. Ajlan Ferdinand, especially because there is no such official policy from the government of Jamaica? Your thoughts?
Yes, I am familiar with the story and that particular development over there in the St. Mary Municipal Corporation, the team of persons that manage that institution. And I think this particular incident is one way that, at least for the St. Mary Municipal Corporation, is maybe their way of trying to combat the issue of COVID virus, and perhaps from an institutional standpoint, trying to do something to reduce the incidence of infections within their offices, within their workspace, and perhaps as a way of modeling safe practice culturally. That's how I am processing that particular incident. So that's my initial thought on that particular matter.
Okay. We don't have Mr. Hansen online. Is it Basil Hansen, sir? Are you now online with us? Apparently, we don't have him on as yet.
I'm there.
Oh, I think he's coming in now.
Yes,
Mr.
I'm
Hansen?
here now. Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know if you heard the question. I had read a bit of an article which is published on Radio Jamaica News Online, dated November 11th, 2021 rather, and 6:12 p.m. And the headline for that: some staff at the St. Mary Municipal Corporation skip in-person meeting following vaccine mandate. And the mandate announced during last month's meeting, reading a little bit of the article here again for your benefit, stated that proof of vaccination would be required before entry to the building. How does that sit with you, sir, bearing in mind that the government of Jamaica has not mandated vaccination for entry to public facilities, for example?
Well, that is definitely not going to go well with a number of us, especially because it is really going against the law of the land, and it is going against our freedom to choose. And so I cannot support that kind of move. But Stokely, I believe, and thanks for having me. I just jumped into it, but thanks for having me. I honestly think we are going down the wrong path, and
I'm hoping that we're not having a challenge with your line, Mr. Hansen. I don't know. Sometimes you sound a little distorted.
You're having a challenge?
Well, try again. Go again.
Yeah, I was saying thanks for having me, and I am definitely not in support of anybody mandating vaccines, and I'm not in for anybody mandating that you have to have a vaccine to get service or to attend function or anything in Jamaica. I am totally against that.
Understood. Now, I just want to be at pains to say that we are not sure at Love 101 FM if that is still the situation at the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. We don't know if they have walked back that policy.
I don't think so. I think we really on a path that is not looking good, and Nelson Mandela will be turning in his grave, to know that he fought against things like apartheid, and now we're talking about medical apartheid and all of those nonsense. I think it is not going to last. I think it cannot last, and it's just a matter of time before people get up and realize this is not about bringing the virus under control. This is about, totalitarian controlling of people. When I look at the different countries, and look at the vaccination over the last year, Stokely, I'm just not understanding why we are not looking at countries, like Israel, that 75 to 85% vaccination. It's not working. We're looking at Grand Cayman, 90%. They have been closed down for almost a year. And yet still the CDC is saying that they are at the highest level of risk, level 4, when it comes on to travel. 90% vaccination. When you look at Gibraltar is 100% vaccinated. Yes, 100. 2 doses, now they are on their 3rd dose. And yet still they are canceling Christmas because there's a spike. So I don't understand why is it that we realize we don't understand that vaccination is not working. But look at Uttar Pradesh in India. Uttar Pradesh has 240 million people, yet still they have 7 cases per day. You know why? Because they do early treatment. I put it to you, Stokely, and the listeners, that no country in the Caribbean can do early treatment unless they get the memo from our slave masters. The Bible says, whoever we owe money, we are their slaves. I believe we are all slaves with a little bit of privilege. And so we cannot do early treatment like Uttar Pradesh until we get the memo from WHO and whoever else. I mean, recently our CMO said that, they could not go ahead with 3rd booster shot unless they get the go-ahead from the WHO. So we are really slaves with a little bit of privilege. And so that's my opinion, that we really can't do early treatment, but it's early treatment with those who want to be vaccinated that is going to get us out of this problem.
I just want to say this, and there was a little bit of a technical issue a moment ago, and we apologize for that. But we have to go to a break now. We have heard much of what you have said, Mr. Hanson, quite interesting, and of course, Dr. Ferdinand. We'll be right back, listeners, in the morning, or stay with us as we'll be right back in a moment.
And 2020, there were 74,455 reports of child abuse in Jamaica. Report child abuse. Call 211.
The time brought to you by Child Protection Services is
7:18.
What does Christmas mean to you? What about making a loved one's face smile bright or driving your own car? CIBC First Caribbean gives you up to 100% financing on auto loans. Apply online and let our auto financing take you places this Christmas. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
It's almost Christmas and Phosphorus Super Sale is back. Yes, you heard it. Come Monday, November 22 to December 2, enjoy massive discounts on electrical and lighting products, LED bulbs, flood lamps, and so much more. COVID still a keep, so all protocols will be strictly observed. Step on down to Phosphorus in Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay, or visit phosphorus.com/shop. It's Phosphorus Super Sale, November 22 to December 2. It's Phosphorus.
welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are in the main watch, and the topic is medical apartheid or public health. Persons being excluded from the St. Mary Municipal Corporation Building if not fully jabbed. And our guest for this segment, we have Mr. Basil Hanson, Christian activist and founder of MTM TV, and Reverend Dr. Ashton Ferdinand, pastor of the Petit New Testament Church of God. Now, you said quite a bit earlier on, Mr. Hanson, quite interesting. However, some persons may argue that if you receive the inoculation, it is certainly one way to, as it were, have some level of assurance that you are, as it were, covered by the treatment that this inoculation can provide. Otherwise, you sort of have to be guessing as to whether or not this person is okay. Your thoughts on that?
Well, first, your medical status is your own business. It's nobody else's business. And so for people to trying to establish your medical status, I think it is out of order and it is disrespectful. I have taken a decision that if the vaccines were providing protection as they told us at the beginning, I'm not talking about the many changes and the many goalposts that has moved since the start of this vaccination. First, we heard that and even now we have an ad on our own radio station and TV running that, get vaccination and get back to life. There's no such thing as getting vaccination and getting back to no life. This is not a vaccine. This is a treatment, right? And it lasts for a few days. I remember doing a program on my network with my wife.
You mean days or months?
Well, months. It lasts a few months. But I remember doing a program.
I just want it to be as factual as possible on Love 101 FM because it has been more recently indicated that after about 6 to 8 months, you may need to get a booster.
But I remember doing a program. Stokely, I remember doing a program on MTM with my wife on her morning program. And I said that if it expires outside, it will expire inside. And I said many people will have to take a booster shot every year. I was wrong with that. It's not every year, it's every 6 to 8 months. You understand? But the thing is, if you have to be taking this thing every 6 to 8 months, I guarantee you those persons who are pushing right now for medical apartheid, in 6 months to 8 months time, they will be rendered not vaccinated if they don't take the third shot. So at no time you are safe. So don't behave as if you are safe. You are not safe with this thing because I would not want to live my life every 6 months taking a vaccine. So what is going to become of your own God-given immune system? You won't have any. So you will have to depend on them to live.
And just to be clear for the benefit of the listeners, we're not here saying that in every case with every single inoculation that is going to be required in terms of boosters for every 6 to 8 months. However, it has been indicated in the media that certainly that may end up being the position. Certainly in relation to some of the inoculations. I don't want to leave out Reverend Dr. Ferdinand because I think you're trying to comment, sir. I don't know if you have any comments in relation to what Mr. Hanson just said. And before you comment, you did indicate, not necessarily strongly, but you did intimate, if I could say that the St. Mary Municipal Corporation is trying to do their part, so to speak, in limiting the spread. However, it has been indicated, Reverend Dr. Ferdinand, that you can spread what is called COVID-19 even after receiving the jab. So in such a case, how strong is the point that getting it will in fact make persons safe, including others?
Okay, well, let me see if I could pinpoint the matter there. I think getting the vaccine in an office. Let me just kind of establish a little context to what I have to say. There are a lot of persons who believe that COVID is a conspiracy, that the virus is not a real virus. Obviously, experience will teach us that the virus is real. There's so many persons who are losing their lives as a consequence of contracting the virus. The medical fraternity researchers have put together a vaccination which helps to provide some kind of boost to your immune system in the fight against the COVID virus. For those who receive the vaccination, it is said by those who have developed it, by WHO and other institutions and governments, that it reduces the risk of severe negative response to COVID-19 virus. So the vaccination itself is not a promise of complete immunity. It is a boost to your immune system to prevent you from becoming severely ill to the extent where you'll be hospitalized and perhaps you die in the process. So I just want to establish that. Now, in terms of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation taking the position to institute a policy that would require individuals, workers, as well as persons from the community to show proof of vaccination for entering and to transact business. It's, as we said, it's not a mandate. They clearly said that it's not a mandate, it's a requirement. And there are options for persons who do not have vaccination to participate and to contribute to the business of the corporation. Now, to the point where you mentioned that individuals who are themselves vaccinated could possibly spread the virus. I'm not so sure. I do not have significant detail on what that is. It's likely because it's of the nature of the virus.
I mean, the US NIH has said that.
Right.
The US CDC has said that. So
Right.
these statements are out there in the public domain.
Right. So I'm seeing where it's possible. You could perhaps touch something and touch another person, and that could lead to contraction. Right. So I see where it is possible for that particular matter. So what I would say, Mr. Marshall and Hanson, is that taking the vaccine is a way of protecting yourself, is a way of protecting others from getting this particular virus. And
any comments on adverse reactions, no matter how slight or how minuscule they may be?
Well, I would say to that, the risks of taking the vaccine.
Suppose you suffer the adverse reaction, no matter how rare. Suppose you got myocarditis or pericarditis.
Okay.
And your heart is now affected.
Right. There is no way that you will know whether you will have adverse reaction unless you have taken the vaccine. Okay, so that's an issue that you're not able to say
I think it's now being indicated that you probably check with your doctor before you take the inoculation.
You should. Let me make this point.
You're okay.
Let me make this point. The risks of the vaccine are far less than the risk of contracting the disease. I think that's an important point that I've heard from the medical fraternity as well, and something that person should take into consideration.
Very interesting. Well, certainly the medical fraternity is receiving a lot of guidance from the relevant agencies, but I want to bring up something here. You did indicate that the vaccine, again, some people say it's not a vaccine, but that's a different conversation, that it provides protection. Now, prior to that, as a child, certainly I remember we were told that it provided immunity, and some people are concerned about that. Are you concerned that it doesn't provide actual full immunity, or immunity at all, but only protection, as it said?
No, that's not a concern to me. If I can take the vaccine and extend my life for 6 months and 8 months, and to do that habitually until we are able to defeat this.
Okay, so you have no challenge with taking the boosters then, I suppose. No,
I do not have a challenge if it means saving my life and protecting my family.
Understood. And you made another important and interesting point about persons think that there may be no COVID-19. And you do have those persons. Admittedly, there are such persons. However, there are some persons who are very much saying that there is a virus, but that there are other treatments such as ivermectin. And so there need not be this focus or this weight placed on the inoculation. Any comments on that, Dr. Curry?
Well, I have heard that there are people who are taking medications given to horses to
Well,
combat the
I think
COVID.
that I think it's clear now that ivermectin can be used for humans, and the horse comment was taken out of context, I believe. So I mean, ivermectin as a drug. I'm not here promoting the drug, by the way. I'm just saying that there are persons who do believe that there is a virus. However, they are saying that there are other medications.
I'm sure there are. I mean, the scope of medical response could be very wide. There may be some medications which can be used, which are used on other sicknesses, which can be used on this if it is tested and proven. I feel that if there is a particular medication that could be used to defeat COVID virus and it is available, then we should use whatever medical interventions we can to create the circumstances for us to build community immunity over time. This is not something that's going to go away.
Finally, in a second or two, because I think we're totally out of time. I'll squeeze this a little bit of time here. Both of you are second each.
Let
You
me
be
give
excluded from
Mr. Hansen
should
a
you be
chance.
excluded from public buildings or not if you have not received the jab? Mr. Hansen, you're saying you should not be excluded?
You should not be excluded from nowhere
Okay.
for
And
something that is
Dr.
not working.
Ferdinand, should you be excluded if you haven't received the inoculation?
If a person is not willing to comply by means to help to protect
They
the
should be
community,
excluded.
Should they be excluded from church too?
they should
Should they be exclusive from church?
Can you
Mr.
allow
Hansen,
me? Can you allow me to
Mr.
make a
Hansen,
point,
Mr.
Mr.
Hansen,
Hansen?
let him answer this.
If a person is not willing to comply, such as keeping distance, wearing masks, etc., I don't think they should be given free reign into institutions where others are
But
trying to.
you're not totally clear with whether they should receive the jab in order to
I
have
don't think
access
it's
to
my
the
place. I
church
don't
or
think
to
it's my,
the public
I
place.
don't have that policy information to determine how that works.
We leave it at that this morning. Unfortunately, we are totally out of time. We do apologize for the technical glitch we had earlier on. I was not in the live feed for a little bit, but that has been resolved. Mr. Hansen and Dr. Ferdinand, I want to thank you for being with us in this first watch. We'll wrap back up this great business. Please stay with us.
Now, with no processing fees and no down payment, it's time to open the door to your own sweet home. The time by JN Bank is
7:32 and a half.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Jamaica's gangs are like packs of rats. They live in filth and try and drag us all in there with them, spreading the disease of violence and corruption everywhere. But like a pack of rats, they can be eliminated with your help. If you have information on gangs, call Crime Stop on 311. This message is brought to you by Crime Stop and their marketing partners, Lime and NCB.
Acts of the Holy Spirit Ministries International presents Broken to be a Blessing inaugural virtual conference with host Apostle Dorrit Blake, featuring Pastor Sarah Cowan Connor from the USA, Evangelist Marvia Providence, Stacey and Garvey, Evangelist Alison David, and other dynamic speakers. Friday, November 26th, 7 p.m. Saturday, November 27th, 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. So tune into Acts of the Holy Spirit Ministries International YouTube and Facebook page.
Hey, my peeps, get this on the regular. Your HIV status, if you consider, at least if a test once a year. Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Cause it might not show up on your timeline and you learn too late, so you're out of time. A progressive future, mandatory. Really long life, our story. You hear?
Remember, update your status in a real life. Go HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Really long life, our story. Real long life for youth, coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
I am Adenier Jones, Executive Chairman of the Church of God in Jamaica. I have taken the vaccine. My family has taken the vaccine. The COVID-19 virus is making people very sick. All of us by now, we know someone who has died from it. The virus is having devastating effect upon the life of the nation as a whole. There is no justification from the Bible that the vaccine is the mark of the beast. There's a lot of confusion around that idea, but I want to assure you, there is no biblical grounding. So I encourage you, my friends, go and take the vaccine. Protect yourself, protect your family.
25, 50, 75. 25, 50, 75. Get a special Christmas advertising package on the family station Love 101 FM for only $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000 plus GCT this Christmas. 25, 50, 75. 25, 50, 75. Call our sales department for this amazing deal. Christmas advertising packages for only $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000. Only on the family station Love 101 FM this Christmas. Don't miss your opportunity. Call our sales department 876-968-9596. That's 876-968-9596.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. Let's take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaica and others are saying and doing. And in the major daily newspapers this morning on other happenings, we have here on the front page of the Daily Observer. I do not speak with demonstrators, MP tells residents. More of that at page 6 of the Daily Observer. We also have nothing corrupt, firm at center of CAP or CAP contract controversy defends its integrity. We now look at the Gleaner, and this morning I'm looking at the actual physical newspapers. Vax row take new twist. Workers sue to head off disciplinary action by ParaMed. And we have another headline here on the front page of the Gleaner. Nobody no better than we. And this is in relation to the police union throws down gauntlet to government as salary row up. And we have photo of the day on the front page of the Gleaner. George Smith is still in shock at the death of his colleague and friend Roydell Tay Sr., who worked as a groundsman at Clarendon College. Roydell was killed outside the caretaker's cottage on the school compound Sunday night. Very concerning indeed. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question, which is, what are your thoughts on preferential treatment for those who are vaccinated? If you haven't done so yet, leave your responses in our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
J&B Bank, we're bringing hope to you and your loved ones for the holidays. Give and receive the happiness you've looked forward to all year long. Get personal unsecured loans up to $5 million with low monthly payments, loans to boost your small business, and joyful rewards when you use your J&B Bank Visa credit card. So whether you're doing last-minute spending or getting ready for the new year,
choose hope for the holiday.
With J&B Bank, we'll help you find a way.
Black Friday Mega Madness, Black Friday Mega Madness, Black Friday Mega Madness. We have never had a sale this big. Get ready, Jamaica. This one is massive. November 26th to 28th at Home and Things. It's the Black Friday Mega Madness weekend at Home and Things. Every single item in store is 30 to 70% off this Friday only. And catch the Saturday and Sunday specials too. Black Friday Mega Madness weekend is on at Home and Things, Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. It's a Mega Madness weekend.
Since the start of this year, the National Children's Registry has received almost 7,000 reports of child abuse. These include sexual, physical, emotional, and neglect. It is time to start protecting our children. If you know something isn't right, make the call. Report child abuse. Call 211.
Money, money, money! We know some extra cash in your pocket this holiday season can go a far way. Grace Kennedy Money Services Western Union will deliver your wish. Receive a Western Union money transfer for your chance to win a share of $2.5 million. 100 lucky customers will receive cash prizes of $20,000 each, and 5 lucky customers will each win grand prizes of $100,000 cash. Visit gkmsonline.com for details. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
More ways to win big this Christmas. The more you watch, listen, and stream with your favorite Digicel apps, the more chances you have to win from thousands of prizes. We're talking prizes of $500,000 and so much more. Not to mention a special Boxing Day prize of tickets for two to a Copa destination of your choice. Simply listen to your favorite Christmas carols in D-Music, watch movies in Playgo, or connect with friends in VIP to be a winner. Shake to win in the My Digicel app today. Digicel, better together this Christmas. Visit digiceljamaica.com for terms and conditions. Authorized under Section 58(3) of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act. Promotion valid November 19, 2021 to January 13, 2022.
Welcome back. You're tuning to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. Let's join Nadine for a look at how our social media friends have responded to today's question. What are your thoughts on preferential treatment for those who are vaccinated? Nadine?
No comments.
Oh, no comments so far? Okay. Well, we'll move right into the second watch. Now, recently, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, reintroduced states of emergency, and this was in relation to 7 police divisions within 5 parishes. It's been tried before, and there have been mixed reviews on the matter. Now, is this a strategy that will only give the criminals more territory and frustrate and instill fear in citizens? Certainly in the communities where there aren't these states of emergency. And how will the security forces be able to tackle the various challenges that can result if criminals simply migrate to other places where there is perhaps less of a blanketing of the areas with the security forces? We have online this morning to discuss is Christopher Kennedy, pastor, Joyland and Abrams Mennonite churches, and also Reverend Mark Stewart, founder and bishop, Jamaica Restoration Breakthrough Prayer Healing Deliverance Ministries. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you both?
Good morning. Good morning. Nice. Thanks for having us.
All right. Is it only you so far, Reverend Stewart? Mr. Kennedy? Pastor Kennedy? Well, let's start with you, sir. Reverend Mark Stewart. First of all, good morning. And
good morning, sir.
Any initial thoughts before we head to the break? Any initial thoughts that you have in relation to state of public emergency across the various police divisions as recently announced?
Yeah, my initial thoughts is that it has come a little too late, even though necessary, because we have seen a government, both the Minister of National Security and the Prime Minister, who has reshifted their focus for many months now on the pandemic and on the vaccine and all this stuff, and you saw less of them making any considerable effort to tackle crime and violence, and the energy that they put behind the vaccine and all these stuff. You don't get that energy behind them trying to tackle this whole matter of crime and violence to the point where it has spiraled out of control, and now trying to do mitigation or trying to come up with something at this point in time like what they have done before, which literally did not work as much as it was expected to. No, I don't think that it is going to put any damper on what is happening in Jamaica with crime and violence at this time.
You sound very pessimistic, sir. No air of optimism. I don't think we have
There
Mr. Kennedy
are,
on again.
because what is happening, the migration, as you said, is definitely going to take place. Remember when they started in Montego Bay? What happened? The guys start moving out in caskets, in hearses, in stuff. One of the things that we need to know about Jamaica, the police force is so corrupt in that once they begin to discuss state of emergency, the criminals know. They know long before many of us know that this is going to happen. So immediately they are put on their guard, they move out. So by the time the police go to lockdown, all they're locking down is the citizens, sometimes even terrorizing and stopping us from going about our business. But I don't see where it is having that impact of catching the criminals, bringing them to justice, and having us in a safer Jamaica. It's not working.
Now, your church organization is based, is it Trelawney?
Now we're in Portmore, Clarendon, Mandeville, and St. Elizabeth.
St. Elizabeth. Okay, so you have a church location towards the western side of Jamaica, although not quite fully west.
Not quite, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, speak to us from the angle of your location in St. Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Of course, we are
Sorry,
not
just
seeing
sharing that
where.
Kennedy is on.
Well, we're not seeing where your church is in that zone in terms of where the state of public emergency has been announced, but we know that St. Elizabeth has had its own share of criminal activity. Now, you don't think that perhaps an SOE might help St. Elizabeth to cauterize whatever is taking place there?
No, where St. Elizabeth is concerned, I see where there's a lot of scammers in St. Elizabeth, but also there's a lot of domestic violence. If you know St. Elizabeth, what we see there is a lot of more of domestic violence taking place in St. Elizabeth, which we as a church and as a community can assist in terms of tackling. And then, the migration of the scammers coming there to hide out until Montego Bay and Hanover and Westmoreland is cooled down. That is what we're having to deal with in those. As I said, once the announcement of these SOEs is done, then you're going to find that these people migrate to these areas to hide out, to cool out, might not be necessarily committing major crimes, as they would where they were. So we have different issues to deal with in places like St. Elizabeth. But those areas that are hotspot, which they deemed that was necessary to put the SOE in, which we have seen that even as the SOE was announced, people were still being murdered and killed in these areas just the same. So, from why not Clarendon too? Look at Clarendon. Clarendon is another hot area. We don't hear of them putting any in Clarendon, and we know the link between the gangs and all of that. And Clarendon is one of the biggest, hottest area in Jamaica where crime and violence is concerned. So you're going to see people moving into these areas, committing these crimes and doing their work in the same way. And then by the time their SOE is lifted, you're going to see them moving back into those areas. And it's really a challenge.
Crime has been a problem, especially murder. It's been a problem for so many years. I believe we now have Pastor Kennedy on. Pastor Kennedy, good day. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, Stokely. Nice to be on with Reverend Stewart again, the man of God.
Bless you.
No problem. Always a pleasure having both of you on. Now, Pastor Kennedy, your church is located in the western section of Jamaica, yes?
Yeah, that's correct.
And it's the parish of St. James?
That's correct, yeah.
How do you find this whole matter of the state of public emergency being declared for certainly your entire parish? And do you think it will help in any way to cauterize the crime monster, the crime beast, the crime animal, however you choose to term it, in order to help
my position, Stokely, is
the lives of more persons?
My position is that it is unfortunate that with a state of emergency, the security forces cannot capitalize on what it offers. Because as Reverend Stewart was saying, if these people really are moving out of their areas of comfort, then the security forces should be able to capitalize on that. You must remember that when you move out of your comfort zone, you are more vulnerable because you are among people who are not as intimidated or as loyal to you as when you're back in your own frame of reference. So I think it's unfortunate that the security forces just cannot capitalize on that. And I think that it is better fighting crime with criminals out of their comfort zone than in their comfort zone. And so we must capitalize on that. Yes, St. Elizabeth would be one of the places that they would be migrating into, But I think I don't think criminals would be as comfortable in St. Elizabeth as in their own spheres of residence.
Now, both of you gentlemen, you are aware that, of course, when states of public emergency are declared, when SOEs are declared, the rights of the citizens who reside in these areas, regardless of whether they're involved in criminality, are severely restricted. And it gives the security forces great powers in terms of arrest and detention. And the various persons, especially persons who are interested in matters from a human rights perspective, and there are many such persons who will say to you, well, it's one thing to try to tackle crime. However, that price of removing the rights of citizens, not because you just want to, because you see the need to, but notwithstanding you seeing the need to, the fact is that those rights are severely curtailed. And I'm looking at an article here, for example, Jamaica Observer. This is from back in about 2019. In fact, its headline, the date is December 11, 2019. An article here by Lisa Donkey Willis, and the public defender is speaking here, and she's quoted. Indeed, our youth should be mindful that arbitrary detention, while it may be practiced under the state of public emergency, is not supported by any law in Jamaica, and may well be an illegal act that can be challenged. Or you should also appreciate that they have every right to agitate. And she goes on. And in fact, it is known that there is actually a case now before the court, where the court was to pronounce on the whole matter of an aspect in relation to detaining persons, etc. It has not yet been finalized. That matter is not final yet. And this current administration did indicate that it would await the outcome. But
exactly.
Alas, we are where we are. So having said all of that, coming from both of you from a human rights perspective, God forbid Reverend Mark Stewart or Pastor Kennedy get detained by the police because the police think you're doing something illegal, or they think whatever they think.
Let me say that personally for me, as long as the police and soldiers are doing their job and catching the criminals in this country, I don't have a problem with being restricted for a while so that they can catch these guys, put them away, and we can go about our business after a while. But here the problem is, we need to realize we're living in a Jamaica where some of the very people who are out there manning these areas as police and soldiers are some of the same people we have to fear. Why? Because we know that in Jamaica, some of these same police put on the uniform in the day, go to work in the night. Some of them are the contract killers. Some of them are the very people we're looking for who are out there doing the job. We are we're in a society where you do not even know who to trust. Some of these police are linked with these criminals. We have seen that in the investigation and the case that is going on now downtown, where police are being implicated in these criminal gangs. So we are in a situation, for me, where we're trying to catch people who we are using to try catch people. If you get what I'm trying to say.
You mean the one done gang trial?
Yes, the trial.
Well, the case isn't finished yet, but continue.
Yes, so we see where a lot of the information that the police should have been getting to do their work when they get that information, it is being passed on to the very people they're trying to catch. And I'm telling you that. And so it's a difficult thing to lock us down, saying that you're trying to catch these criminals and these people when we are paying the price for the mishap of even the very police force itself and the corruption that is within it, that is hampering sometimes the very investigations and also the catching of some of these criminals. And people might not want to go there, but I want to go there because that is one of the major problems. The information that is going to the criminals.
I have no problem with you going there, sir. We just want to be factual. But
yes, preparing them and informing them and those who are a part of these gangs, that is hampering the process of the justice that is supposed to be taking place, catching these people, bringing them in, is the major issue that we're fighting in the country.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy, from a human rights
we have cops like these in many countries, but they still have to continue the fight against crime. Of course, what Reverend Stewart is doing is highly concerning. You know,
and you have also good cops in. I think the vast majority of them are law-abiding.
Yeah, many of them are, but we have a few of them, trust me, they are.
Yeah. In terms of solid data, though, I wouldn't know what percentage that would be, and I don't know if the percentage is so concerning that we would drop our hands and be pessimistic about it. But I'm thankful that Reverend Stewart did mention that. But Stokely, why is it that we cannot admit? You know, I was listening to the earlier conversation about the COVID-19 vaccine, and this conversation is the same thing. Why is it that we cannot admit that some choices are pyrrhic? In other words, both options are bad. And in that event, what we have to do is take the decision that is more effective. And that's the problem I've always had with these human rights. Thank God for them, these human rights groups, but they tend to be so political that they approach the matter in a winner-take-all fashion. Right?
One-sided.
Say that again?
No, I said sometimes one-sided. Mm-hmm.
They are very, very one-sided way they approach things, you know, and sometimes they cause more harm than good. And I think that is an approach that we ought not to take. The government, when you listen to the Prime Minister speaking, you're talking about someone who's trying his best, you know, trying to utilize all the options that he has to deal with the matter. And what, as citizens, what do we expect? We can't expect our Prime Minister going to throw his hand up in the air and just find fault. There is a way forward. There's something that we can do. We must do something about it, you know. And I think that that's the approach we ought to make. The options are pyrrhic, but we need to concentrate on what moves. Is like a game of draw, you know. Are you playing chess? We have to concentrate on what moves are the best moves. Sit down and contemplate that.
You know, gentlemen, I'm going to raise this issue. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. For me, the SOEs in the past have not done all or much of what it was created to do. In the past, we had governments who formed teams like the one that I know there's controversy with what Renita Adams and his team and those squads and those people who were. But one of the things about them were that they were effective in dismantling and catching. Yes, we had issues where, you know, there were human rights issues where, you know, people were investigating whether the murders were done, you know, in justice or whatever. But at the end of the day, these measures were more effective, I think, in those days in catching and dismantling these criminals than the ones they're putting now. I see a lot of these police officers on the road. They're sitting, they're on their phones. For half an hour, they might be checking vehicles. For the next hour or two, they're sitting down, vehicles going through. Who knows gunmen are going through with guns in the car? Are they properly searched? If they take time to search all vehicles, it's going to take a day. Lots of vehicles are on the road. So,
I think we're not here at Love 101 FM in any way, shape, or form condoning extra judicial killings. I don't think that's what.
No, we're not saying that, but we're saying that the persons, if you put together a group of officers and people, you know, it's hard to but and say to them, listen, we're going to target Clarendon, we're going to go right throughout, and you know, do what these guys used to do in the past. They get up overnight. They go into these areas. They search for these guys. By a morning, you hear they take out 5 of them, 6 of them to the station, investigate. We're not talking about murdering them and killing them. We're talking about finding them, bringing them in the proper way. But I think that they were more effective then in catching criminals than the measures we're using now.
I think we're totally out of time, gentlemen. I think we're completely out of time. But in a short answer to our question here, do you think that they will work, SOEs, at this particular point in time? Reverend Stewart, yes or no?
I don't think they'll work at this time. They have not worked in the past, and I do not know if they're going to work in this time.
Pastor Kennedy, do you think it will work this time, yes or no?
It will work if we're serious about making this work. I don't think we're doing a good job by
Very
following up with
interesting. I have to leave it there this morning. Very interesting. I have to leave it there this morning, gentlemen. I want to thank both of you, Pastor Kennedy and of course, you know, Pastor Reverend Stewart, for being with us today. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow to look at other topical and controversial issues, and visit our Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and other Love 101 FM programs. Listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app and download it today and stay connected to the family station. Love 101 FM, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokely Marshall, hanging back up in the morning with Nadine Blair.
Thank you so much for listening to The Morning Watch. You are tuned to Love 1.